How we doing out there? I'm serving the Most High. You know, I understand things are tough and hard out there for everybody. Trying to recognize what the right things and the wrong things are to do. And you hear me, you hear me going a tear this way, a tear that way. And I just want you to realize that the things that are pressing against you, what they're trying to do is there's a form of evil that is going around that everybody doesn't really recognize. Okay? The understanding of being tormented by the principalities and everything that's going on around you because, you know, I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of different things that goes on in everybody's lives. The point of understanding that you don't have any money, you don't have a way to pay your insurance, you don't have a way to pay. They're moving an AI system in that is just going to take over your whole life. And I know a lot of people don't understand how that's going to work, but they say there's not nothing we can do about it. Well, there is. You can put a system together in your community. I'm sitting in a place right now, population 35,000. And there's things that you can do, okay? There's really things that you can do. But you got to understand that it's the fight. The Father's here, okay? No ifs, ands, buts, or about it. Jesus is on his way back. But you got to understand that you're complying with something that you're signing up for. I'm not a sign up guy. I see a lot of things on here that says here, you watch 5,000 hours or 5 million hours. Here's $987. If you'll just sign up, sign your life away. Look here, keep the money. That's not how this works. And I know that's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to turn your head so that you can make a contract with Satan. And the IRS takes over. It's just like if you take it on here, you take the money, and you give the permission for the IRS to take over all your aspects of the phone. Because you got to understand, when it comes to the mammon part, the money, they say, well, we got to have all aspects to all your information so we can make sure it's right. Same thing with what's happening at the bank, because once you put money in the bank now, the IRS can come in and look at whatever your accounts are at any point in time instead of being private. Understand how this is going to work. And it's not going to work to everybody's favor, I can promise you that. And but the upper echelon's trying to put you in a headlock. And it's the truth of what's coming. So understand that it's not going to be real well. Not really understood to be a good thing. You're going to have all these things that they're going to put on you that you're going to have to do. China's got it going on over there. They got theirs on a credit score system that if you mess up, you lose points on your credit score. There's people over there living in the streets right now because they won't comply. And they're probably better off for it. But they're shunned completely out of the system altogether, shut out. The UK's implementing theirs. They're supposed to have theirs by December this year. Now we hear it's supposed to be December 17th of this year for here. So the way it works is you have to go to your communities and figure out what you're going to do. You got to remember that everybody lives in a community outside. You take your farmers, your ranchers, your people that make products. Most of it's out here, but that's the reason why Bill Gates was making bug burgers. Understand what's coming. You can shut the whole system to the ground by not selling anything. They're going to make their big projects to where they can take care of their own stuff, but they're not going to live here anyways. None of the upper echelons are going to live here. They're going to be over in their Mecca cities, over by Israel, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and they're going to have their own little shindig parties over there because they control those people. And here, they're just going to lock this place down like a prison with AI, robots, and you're going to comply. Well, it kind of seems like it's in between iRobot, Road Warrior, and the Terminator. And look what's coming. You know, they've been showing the advertisement for so long. The deal of it is that everybody was, you got to remember, this has been happening a long time. They're showing it on TV so you get more and more and more and more information and just think it's all okay. Because the guy that rides in on the white robot saves the day. But you got to understand this, that, you know, I was on a bus, on a train, and realizing this little old lady was next to me, and she was in her 80s, and there was this lady over there hollering backwards and forwards what bus to get on, and she wasn't giving clear notification of which place was going where, because I was listening. And this lady missed her bus. And the thing about it is that she had no more money. She just had enough to buy her ticket to get to where she was going. Well, she called the people, and guess what? You know, they'll reimburse her, they'll send it back to her and all that. Look, she was hung up there at the station, okay? But a robot doesn't care. So that you got to really understand that how this is going to play out and how it's going to work. You're just going to have to stay in your own little area, and you know you're going to have to plan all your trips. But when you plan your trips, we got to make sure you have all your rabies shots. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not going to be what you think it is. It's not going to be the investment you think it is, because they just spent some more money and they're going to digitalize everything to say, okay, they own all $500 trillion worth of equity. Well, it's not going to work out that way. It doesn't ever work out that way. Everybody's always tried this, tried that. It's going to be tribes. You're going to have to go back to being tribes again. And the thing about it is, on your bartering systems, it'll have to be under the table, because you know you're not going to buy, sell, or trade unless you got the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast is going to be co-signatory to all the digital stuff. It's like whenever I had crypto. Well, I sold all my crypto, and they locked up my money in an account. Well, this is quite some time ago. So guess what? Y'all can have the money. I don't care. I mean, I won't sign up. I'm not going to sign up. I'm not going to take the mark of the beast. You won't be able to use cell phones. You won't be able to do anything except comply. Well, I think I got something for that, to be honest with you, but it's not. You got to realize what's coming. And ladies and gentlemen, it's, you know, I've been on a tear here since October of last year, September, October. And I've cranked out about 3 videos a day, sometimes 4. And the Father's got me speaking about all this to tell you that the mark of the beast is coming. It's coming very slyly. And it's going to say, okay, well, your investments are going to be this way, that way. And like I said, it was on my phone until I said something about it. And I said, guess what? This is the way it's going to be with me. I got 10,000 people that'll put all that stuff on their phones. And we'll bankrupt you overnight, because there's no way that you can make that kind of money every day. Buying products, selling product. Yeah, there's 8 billion people on the planet, but do you think they're going to share that profits margin? No. Maybe $29.95, but you're still a minion. You're always going to be a minion. They're not going to work with you. They're going to work against you. Just realize how this is working out for you and how it's going to work out for everybody. You got to look for yourself. You got to look for your people. You got to take care of everybody you possibly can, because you're going to need each other. And spending time with the Father, telling him your problems, Jesus on your lips. Jesus, I need help. Please help me in this situation or that situation. And I've been through every situation known to man, I guess, over the past 7 years. Didn't know, really didn't know. And I didn't know any better. Well, now I do, and I spread the word everywhere I possibly can. And pastors, I really want you to understand that don't take an offense what I say because of the truth. I say a lot of things that are, you just got to really realize that that's the Father talking, not me, okay? I understand the difference, but I read a room like reading a dictionary. I know every point of it. And the point of it being is, when I said the other day that, use your heart instead of your Bible or the Word or the whatever you wrote for the day, because the Father wanted to see your hearts, not nothing else. And what he wanted you to realize is that you required so much of his word, okay? And you have his word, and you can follow his word, and which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, it is a good thing. But the Father said, okay, it's time to let me hear your heart. Come back to your first love. Come back to your understanding about who I am, and let me have your heart again. Let me have your teaching again. Let me have the love that you have for me, and let that love flow out to the people. Kind of like I do every day. Sometimes I'm on point, and sometimes I'm a little off. But that's the understanding of what the day may bring. But the Father wants you to really understand that he is here. And whenever I went around and talked to the pastors about, don't do your sermon, do everything from the heart, I know nobody listened. And the point of it being is that you got to understand that was the Father talking to you. That wasn't me. Have you ever had a stranger just come up to you and just walk up to you and say, hey, the Father told me to tell you to preach the word from your heart. Put up your sermon. Don't read out of the book. I bet you haven't. Look, I don't back down. I don't cower down. The Father told me to do that, and guess what? It wouldn't have made any difference if there was an army in between me and there. I would have got there. But that's what the Father's telling you. And enough's enough. He wants to hear from your heart, because everybody's gone cold because they can read the Word. Everybody can read the Word. But there's very few can use their heart. And me, I use a lot of heart. I do, and I use the Word too when I can. But the Father, just like right now, this is all about the Father. It's not about me in any way, shape, fashion, or form. And people don't really realize it. And I just want to give a shout out to Sarah. Thank you so very much. You're a wonderful person. And Mel, you're a wonderful person. Matthew, you're a wonderful person. And Mark, you're a wonderful person. And I heard that, there was some watching me. So, all you guys, y'all done a wonderful job, and I think you finally, I know you get it, and you got it. So, understand that, a lot of people out here, they still need a lot of help. Still need a lot of people, a lot of help, because they have no idea about the witchcraft, about everything pushing them in a corner, and about spending time with the Father and understanding how much His love means to everybody. But anyways, I'm going to try to get my webpage done somehow. I don't, I'll get it done. And when I do, then I'll give a full-blown deal on it. But I'm just right now, just supposed to spread the word, and I'm just going to go from this place when I get ready to leave here, either tomorrow or Sunday or whenever I get out of here. I'll be leaving the place where I was at. I even met a beautiful actress, and she shot a lot of film. She really has. And she is a wonderful person. Her and her mother, I had no toilet paper, okay? So I cut out the door and I take a beeline. And when I get to the door, her mother was holding up toilet paper in her hand. And I go, I need that. Oh, you just got here just in time, So, the strange things that happens in your life, you just really can't imagine how the Father is working every avenue to your favor. But understand that things are fixing to get really tough, and it's going to go a little nuts. So just understand that when you understand that you're signing something, you don't know what you're signing over the air. I've signed contracts across the table from people. I just don't sign up on what I can't see and what they hide, because they hide it all. And signed the contract with Satan, the investment part of it, I just clear my accounts and, go from there. But just remember that you're the wonderful children of God. You may be spun up in problems and stuff like that, but just take it to the Father. Just put Jesus on your lips and say, Jesus, I can't do this anymore by myself. I have tried, and I keep hitting a brick wall. It just hurts. And let me tell you something, been there, done that. Been there, done that. Just spend the time and just say, Jesus, I lay all this at your feet. I'm tired. I'm burnt. I'm crispy critter. Can you please, possibly please, Father, can y'all give me a little breathing room? Now, the breathing room comes after the spin-ups now. Understand you have to go back through whatever you've done and come back out the other side clean. And let me tell you something. You can make it. You're good enough, you can make it. But anyways, you're wonderful children of God. And I know that, you hear me say these things, you hear me talk about it all the time. I talk about the same thing, mainly all the time, because I understand that putting food on the table, I understand about witchcraft, demonology, Satanism, covens, all these things, and I understand how it can push against you. And you may be a Satanist, and maybe you just need to get some room, some distance. And I say this to everybody, Christian, devil worshippers, pagans, soothsayers. When you hear my voice, that's the voice of God, not me, okay? And when you hear the voice of God and you're not willing to get out of the mix of things, It's not my fault that you get spun up, okay? I had a lot of people out there throwing negative at me. You got to understand that no weapon forged against me shall prosper. Have you ever heard whenever a person throws ice at a door or ice against something, it goes thump, 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 or bugs hitting the windshield? Well, that's what all your negative does around me. I know you're doing it, but you can't help it. You're probably in a spin cycle. You may not just, you may not just understand how to even like your own self. But it doesn't work on me. It's just a mirror effect. Whatever you give me, towards me, an evil eye or anything else, it comes back to you double. And also you get spun up. But understand that the Father will spend time with anybody that wants to try to open their heart back up and just help anybody you can. Because that's the love of God. So understand how this works. Understand you're wonderful people. And you are beautiful people. You truly are. It just kind of seems like everything's pushing against you. And it is. This is a time that, I'm going to be traveling a lot. And I'm going to be going around, and I don't do a lot of things on video yet because I don't want to trespass on other people, but it's getting to the point to where I have to show you what I see at the moment I see it, because it's the thing that I just read it just as it is. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. But understand, pastors, I'm not trying to say you're bad. I'm just kind of telling you that you've been pushed off of your path. What you've done is you're living the life of being a pastor or a priest or a bishop or whatever you are, and you're going through the motions every day, but you've lost your first love. And let me tell you, I haven't lost mine yet, but it can get that way when you try to replace it with something else. Me, I scroll a lot to find out a lot of information about everything that's going on out there. I walk and I talk and I go to church and I, here in this little town, and trying to realize what's going on with the people. And it's just what happens whenever you're trying to live life and trying to take care of all these things and trying to understand that you got to spend time with the Father and the Father in you and you with the Father. Understand the Father saying, hey, it's time to put everything aside. All you need to do is concentrate on me now. And that's exactly where he's at. And I'm not trying to be insulting or anything. I can be if it comes to be that. But the thing about it is that I don't want to be. I want you to realize that it's just the Father that you got to contend with, not me. Father just wants what he wants, and he'll get what he wants. And you know that just as well as I do. Just spend time with the Father. If you're reading the Word is the Father's Word. No ifs, ands, buts, or boards about it. I was reading the Marian Bible today from the late 50s, early 50s, 40s and 50s. And the terminology of that Bible compared to what's new in the King James Version is a completely different thing in Revelations. And, it's changed and changed and changed. You have to go to the lexicon, and if you can find one that's outside the perimeters that's directly from Greek and Hebrew, even some Latin, but it's a different, it's different altogether. It was just a different interpretation. It was directed by a pope. But anyways, what we got to understand is that we're living in a fallen world. It's falling apart, and they're just going to box you up and say, okay, we'll see y'all guys later. Y'all have a great life since we got you locked up. So, aliens and lizards and all. So This is what's coming to pass, and it will be here by the end of the year. So I've said for a long time, get together with your community. You still got cash value. You still got things that you can barter and sell and trade to get to where you need to be at to be stable. Make sure your community is stable around you, and just understand what's coming, people, because it's not going to be nice. And everybody, your mayors and all that stuff already know about really what's going on, but nobody wants to tell anybody anything until they're all locked down, because they've got an easy in and easy out because they get a pass because they're part of the upper echelon. So 25 minutes, whoa. Anyways, I'll be on Twitch under I Am Servant 777 at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. And y'all just be wonderful people to everybody. Just help everybody you can, love everybody you can, and it's all about love. It's all it is. If you can find your love for the Father, go back to the Father, and understand that Jesus is your Lord and Savior. Yeshua HaMashiach. And Yahweh is your God. He loves you. I love you. I'll get off here and build up your caches. Put stuff aside. Get ready to plant organic gardens. Take care of yourselves. And I will talk to you later. I am serving the Most High. Bye.